It's ironic that the first song we're going to talk about today, which I'll let you discuss, is really one of the most cynical Christmas hits ever recorded.
All right, you guys, welcome back to Inside the Reaction. This is the holiday season edition. I'm your boy, Black Pegasus. And you know, on this channel, we're listening to classics, or what you might call a classic. But today, we're going to dive deep into the holiday theme. So if you're here for it, like, share, comment, subscribe, and guess who I brought with me today? So we can kind of investigate a deeper side of these songs. The one and only Tim Sommer. He is a musical expert, and I'm excited to have him back. He's a friend, collaborator. He's a producer, a writer. Actually has 2 books on the way in 2026. Let's bring on Tim. Here we go.
Thank you so much. That is such a kind introduction, and it is such a pleasure to be here. I have a question for you.
Sure.
Just jump right in with a question. I stopped believing in Santa Claus when I was 7 years old. When did you start? When did you stop believing in Santa Claus?
I did believe in Santa Claus. And there is this thing about Santa Claus that invigorates the imagination.
Yeah.
And this belief in Santa is so happy and, like you said, hopeful. And I remember when I found out he wasn't real, it was actually... it was like a car wreck, to be honest, because, you know, there's always the older kids laughing. You still think Santa's real type of thing. And you're like, he's not real. What are you talking about, bro? It's so cool that you brought that up first, because it's a thing. It's a thing. Absolutely.
And even though I was sort of raised Jewish, it was still important for me to believe in Santa Claus. It was still important for me to believe that there was this thing out there that had no malice.
And that's one of the things I love about Christmas, because when I was younger, sometimes I wouldn't so I had these moments where I wouldn't get into the Christmas spirit. And then now that I have kids, it's like all about like, all right, let's get it going. Like it's exciting.
And I think that's funny that one of the reasons, it's ironic that the first song we're going to talk about today, which I'll let you discuss, is really one of the most cynical Christmas hits ever recorded.
Really? So this is what's crazy. As we move into this, what is this? The Waitress?
The Waitresses.
The Waitresses. I've never even heard of them.
Wow. You'll enjoy this.
I've never even... That's why I'm excited, because, you know, you can't really dodge holiday music in general.
No,
like, it's
you
played
can't.
everywhere. And so when you're like, hey, man, I got some stuff for you, I was like, well, let's get it. So, yeah, The Waitresses. Okay, yeah, you're going to have to put me on game, because I'm not familiar with them. And this is a Christmas rapping?
Yeah, and they were an underground, I mean truly underground. They were on an alternative label. They were an underground alternative New York City band in the very late 1970s and early-ish 1980s. I think their active years together were 1980 to 1984. And when this song was recorded, they were just coming off of their biggest quote-unquote hit. Of course, it wasn't really a hit. It was just like a hit in the dance clubs, which is a song that you may even be familiar with, called I Know What Boys Like.
I know what boys like. I know what guys want. I see them looking.
And that was a cynical song about relationships. So it was very weird that they were then asked to do a Christmas song, because not only were they the sort of underground New York City band known for being a little quirky and a little cynical, they were also on a very quirky underground label called Z Records, who really just did strange art rock. So it's weird that a band known for doing art rock songs, cynical art rock songs, on a quirky New York label would also be known for a Christmas song that we're still talking about 45 years later.
That's crazy. I've heard the hook, I Know What Boys Like.
Sure.
I don't even really know what the song's about necessarily, so this is cool. So full circle moment. The Waitresses, Christmas rapping, and we're going to do a first-time reaction right now if you guys are ready for it.
crazy blur. Don't think I have the energy to add to my already mad rush just 'cause it's 'tis the season. The perfect gift for me would be completions and connections left from last year. Ski shop encounter, most interesting. Had his number but never the time. Most of 81 pass along those lines. So deck those halls, trim those trees, raise up cups of Christmas cheer. I just need to catch my breath. Christmas by myself this year. Count the picture, frozen landscape, chill this
All right,
room
all right.
for 24 days.
Hold on, slow down, the waitresses. All right, okay, there's a lot here. Let me process what I'm feeling. First and foremost, this were they playing the sax on the hook?
Yeah,
Or,
terrific sort of avant-garde jazz saxophonist named Mars Williams.
yeah. So this sounds familiar in the sense of like hearing it in passing, that dun, 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 dun. But I've never heard this because this girl is it's almost like rap. Like I enjoy hearing stuff where I'm like I can kind of compare it to rap because like the way she's delivering her lyrics
Yeah.
has like a little bit of a rap cadence, and I love it. And as we went into this, you talking about cynicism at some contest, her talking about Christmas basically being single. The thing that stands out to me and where I relate to this the most is the traffic that Christmas creates. So like I will play this in traffic because it's like everyone comes out during the holidays to go shopping and everything is dramatically longer.
Yeah.
And it's just so funny because as much as I love Christmas, the Christmas lights, the kids are like, Dad, let's go do this. There is a part of me that feels exactly like the cynicism of the song. Like, oh, I got to go into this traffic and all these crazy people are shopping and So, yeah, it's pretty wild.
It's a terribly interesting also picture into what music videos looked like just really at the dawn, and literally the dawn, of MTV. This was considered, I remember seeing this video in a club when I was,
wow.
I was 19 years old. I remember seeing this video in the club, and at that time, this seemed like state of the art, because that's the kind of videos people were making in 1991. And as you mentioned, the rap thing, the pun is in the title, Christmas rapping, because really, in 1981, you had Blondie doing Rapture.
Fab Five Freddy told me everybody slide. DJ spinning, I said in my mind. Flash is fast, flash is cool. Francois, c'est pas flash ain't no do. And you don't stop, sure shot. Go out to the parking lot.
A year earlier, I believe. Or maybe even the same year. You had Tom Tom Club.
Stepping in a rhythm to a Curtis blow. Who needs to think when your feet just go?
With a hippity hop, with a hippity hop.
Who needs to think when your feet just go?
Experimenting with some rapping, but really, we were at the very, very dawn of non-African Americans doing rap. So this was an interesting experiment with that.
Yeah, that's, immediately when she just started going, I was like, I sensed that. And it actually, you mentioning Blondie, I kind of had that moment because I did a reaction to Rapture.
You did? Okay.
Which I wasn't familiar with, but the comments were like, hey, I forget there's like a notable moment. Like this was the first song to hit something that had a rap in it. There's something there.
What's interesting is these are all bands, Tom Tom Club, Waitresses, Blondie. These are all bands from New York City. And when you were going to clubs, even rock and roll and punk rock clubs in New York City in 1979, 1980, 1981, a lot of people were playing rap. The rap that was coming out of the Bronx, the rap that was coming from Brooklyn and all over New York City that was just beginning to emerge. So this was very much in people's heads, even though it had not really disseminated to the rest of the country yet.
Yeah, it was an underground phenomenon. My buddy's dad was from New York, and my dad's from Harlem, but he wasn't really a part of the hip hop explosion like my good friend's father was. And
right.
My good friend's father was really into that underground hip hop scene in punk. There's something about how those
That's correct. There
things
was a real
overlap.
interface there, and that I think is very visible in this song.
Sure. All right, I'm going to bring it back just a little bit, and we're going to rock.
Need to catch my breath. Christmas by myself this year. Count the picture. till summertime. Out to the beach to his boat, could I join him? No, this time it was me. Sunburn in the 3rd degree. Now the calendar's just one page, of course I am excited. Tonight's the night I've set my mind not to do too much about it.
All right, I probably shouldn't put pause, but I wanted to because, you know, where I came from with music, I feel like my programming, I'm like relearning, let's say. And I think because I was such a hip hop head, we always focus around the vocals, and just that little moment of us taking some time to highlight the production.
Yeah.
I just like to highlight that in my reactions because I actually appreciate it a little bit more than it's like this moment of, you know, the instrumentation just kind of getting its justification in the music, because I feel like we've lost that in this time. And it's rare to hear, like, on the radio, like, people just jamming out in a song. And as I dive into more Pink Floyd and stuff like that, I'm having more of an appreciation for just taking a moment, letting it breathe, and let the music speak to you, even though it was very short.
Well, these were very high-end musicians in this band, which was sort of unusual for a, quote, new wave punk rock band. But these were very, very good musicians.
Awesome. Well, they're highlighting it there. So, all right, I'm going to keep it moving.
Dashing through the snow, 'cause I bundled up too tight. Last minute, have to do a few cards, a few calls, because it's RSVP. No thanks, no party lights, it's Christmas Eve. Gonna relax, turn down all of my invites. Last fall, I had a night to myself. Same guy called, Halloween party. Waited all night for him to show. This time his car wouldn't go. Forget it, it's cold, it's getting late. Tried to run home to celebrate in a quiet way. Unwind, doing Christmas right this time. A.P. has provided me with the world's smallest turkey, already in the oven, nice and hot. Oh damn, guess what I forgot? So on with the boots back out in the snow to the only all-night grocery. When what to my wondering eyes should appear in the line is that guy I've been chasing all year. And in this one alone, he said, "Need to break this year's been crazy." I said, "Me too, but why are you? You mean you forgot cranberries too?" Then suddenly we laughed and laughed, caught on to what was happening. That Christmas magic's brought this tale to a very happy ending.
That was way more catchy than I thought it would be for a Christmas song. It's kind of crazy, actually.
Yeah.
Like, it embodies all of this Christmas, but it's not like the typical jingle that I would hear.
You know, the writer of that song, the composer of that song, is a fellow named Chris Butler. And he when he wrote it, he never imagined he would be remembered for it. It's one of those songs he says he sort of finished off in the taxi cab on the way to the studio. He thought he would be remembered for I Know What Boys Like, that would be the big hit that he would be remembered for. But here we are 45 years later. Both songs are being played, but this is the one that gets played the most. I have a quick question for you. In the song, there's a quick reference to the grocery store A&P. Do you have those out where you live?
No, I have never heard of an AMP in Colorado.
It was a very ubiquitous New York City grocery store, not a high-end store, but that's what the reference is to. Anyone in the New York area, probably I think in the Northeast, would know what A&P was. Now, so many interesting things about that song. First of all, I think one of the wondrous things about music is a good song, and you referred to this before. Every time you hear it, you can discover something about it you've never quite paid attention to before. And this time, man, I was really focusing on that amazing bass line, which is played by a woman named Tracy Wormworth, who also played with Paul Abdul, played with the B-52s after she played with the Waitresses. But that is one hell of a bass line, huh?
Yeah, there's a lot of different things. I like how the storyline goes to the end with the lyrics. I like that bass line. The music in general, it is still kind of tripping me out that they made I Know What Boys Like. Like, that's crazy to me. That's wild.
And I also guarantee that, Chris Butler, again, he thought of himself as still thinks of himself, I think, as sort of a cynical, deep, sort of angsty song, well, not angsty, but I guarantee you, of all of the Christmas songs that you will hear this season, of all the Christmas songs you may hear in your life, Christmas Wrapping is the only one that was written by someone who was fired at during the Kent State shootings in May of 1970 in Kent State, in Ohio, when the National Guard fired on student protesters. Chris Butler was one of the people who was protesting that day, and he says It's an event that changed the course of his life, and it's one of the things that turned him into being an angsty young musician. And really, one of the products of that angst, one of the products of that sort of aggravated creativity is this Christmas song, and that's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, this is there's an edge to this Christmas song.
Yeah.
There's an edge to it that's very untypical of Christmas music, and that's why I gravitate to this, because it makes me feel all these different feelings it makes me feel happy about Christmas, but it also legit dog, I got to do these dishes after we make all this turkey and da 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 da. Like, it's just so fun to be okay, I can relate to this. Anyways, I love it.
Now, the Waitresses broke up in 1984, and the singer Patricia Donahue is no longer with us. But Chris Butler very much is with us, the writer of that song. And again, he's the sort of person who never expected to write or record a Christmas perennial song. And in sort of tribute to that, every year he has a contest amongst all the people who follow him on social media, and all the people who, all his friends, and even just the people who see him pop up on Facebook. He has a contest. Every year, the first person who says they hear this song, because, Christmas songs get played earlier and earlier these days, don't they?
Yeah.
And he has a contest that whoever says they were the first person to hear Christmas Wrapping that year, whether they hear it on October 25th or November 5th or whenever, he donates a rather substantial amount of money to a food bank in their name. He does that every year and has been doing that for many years, to the first person who hears Christmas Wrapping every year.
That is awesome. That's really cool. One of the things when I see bands like this, I always kind of wish that I could go in my time machine and go catch them live in some of these grungy sold out clubs. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't imagine the energy.
Not mad, vicious cycle, typecast with the model couple. I'm sorry, but I don't feel awful. It wasn't the end of the world.
And then also there's this, when I was young coming up, there's this newness to certain music, and I just feel like they had that. Like, they just have that thing. I can just feel and sense people are just, they're going to be here, da 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 da.
Right.
They just seem fun. So
yeah.
Tim, thank you so much. I'm excited to check out some more of these holiday classics with you. Curious to see what you're going to put on the table here. You guys, if you'd be so kind, check out our new series coming up, Liner Notes, where we're doing reactions to vinyl. So yeah, we're pulling out the turntable and we're going to do reactions to songs for the first time on vinyl on the channel and keep things moving. Tim, what do you have coming up? I've heard a couple of things like a book or books.
Yeah, 2026, I'm going to have 2 books coming out next year. One of which, and I think this is something that you will find very interesting. I wrote a book about what it was like to be the weird underage, and I mean truly underage, from ages 11 to 17, the underage punk rock and pop scene in New York City nightclubs in the late 1970s, which was a time, this is before all ages shows, when New York City was such a mess that the police decided they weren't going to care if a 14-year-old walked into a New York City nightclub at 1:30 in the morning, went up to the bar, ordered a vodka and Coke and a vodka and orange juice or a rum and Coke, and then just walked and watched some great punk rock on stage. It was an amazing era when New York City was just a Wild West, and one of the wonderful aspects of it being the Wild West is that this amazing rock and roll scene was open to middle schoolers, to high schoolers, and so the streets really belonged to the kids. So I've written a book about that, and it's called No Sleep Till Homeroom, and it comes out in 2026. And also in 2026, I have an anthology of my work called Dispatches from the Kingdom of Outsiders, which is a collection of writing of mine from when I was just a kid to the present day. And so that's coming out next year.
I like that title. The Kingdom of Outsiders is crazy.
Yeah.
That's awesome that you're able to capture, some of this history and lived experience, and present it in a book. I think there's so much value there. A lot of times we'll go to YouTube and just get these stories, but I think there's a lot of value to that personal lived experience and you sharing that with the world. That's awesome. Any chance we're going to get a Tim YouTube channel? Maybe some reactions or something?
I'm hoping. I feel that I am a man of strong opinions. And, a lot of times I'll talk about bands and I want to communicate the excitement I feel or just the strange ideas I've had about music for the many, many decades, which makes me sound older probably than I actually am, the many, many decades that I've been paying attention to music. And I may trying to start a YouTube channel to sort of communicate some of that energy.
Awesome. Well, we're going to support you over here. I'll link that in the description if he does decide to do that, and you guys be on the lookout for that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you guys for joining us today. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next episode of Inside the Reaction.